Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22. And, well, what is today? Today is Tuesday. It is June 24th, and today's election day. Big day. So if you're a Republican registered voter, today is the day that you would vote in the primary for the mayoral election. So I recommend that everybody go out there and vote if you are able to. Right? So obviously there's a lot of people out there that have already filed their mail-in ballots. Congratulations. Thank you for your vote. There's people out there that are not registered to be Republican, so I'd advise you not to waste your time and go to the polls just to find out you can't vote. If you're, an independent or you're part of the Independence Party, which I don't know if it exists anymore, the Conservative Party, none of those have any contested races, hence there is no primary. The Democrats have supported a Republican candidate, so obviously when they're supporting outside of party lines, they typically don't choose two candidates, so there is no contested race there. For those of you who don't know, that is what a primary is, right? A primary is the election where a party presents its slate of candidates. And obviously the slate can only have a certain number. In this race, particularly, it is one candidate for mayor to go to the general election. So I know that this entire mayoral election is based on a referendum, right? People are looking to Amy Sherburne for change. People look at it's one of those it becomes a referendum on the current administration, right? So where and other people are diehard Bill fans. So they are hey, I'm going to vote for Bill. I think things are going great. Or, there's a lot of things that I don't think the general public understands. I think that a lot of people are we need change because they see that maybe the mayor is not doing the job that they believe he should be. I've had a lot of inflection on this. I think that the social media mob gives Bill a bad rap. There's a lot that your hands are tied as mayor. So if you vote for Amy, what you're going to find out is Amy's going to spend a lot of time learning because she hasn't been in local politics long enough. This is her first spat at it. So I think that you're going to find that she's going to spend more time learning and not too much is going to change in her first term. And then a lot of times, if there's no candidates to move forward, then let's say she gets a second term, that's when you might see some change, but I don't think that the change is going to be more lateral. I think that everything that you've got going on is going to be, I think that the changes you're going to see are going to be lateral, and all the things that people want to see changed all are already pre-mandated and preordained by the state of New York, and they're preempted by the state of New York. And so there's not a lot you can change in areas that people want to see the change. So I think that this race becomes really about let's overthrow the regime because we need change, but people don't understand how the system works, so they're not going to get the change that they're looking for. And I think that people are also going to it ends up being this referendum on Bill he's been dicking the dog for the last 10 years or 12 years, and I don't believe that to be the case at all. It's one of those I don't think that anybody's really. I think it becomes this referendum based on false information. So I'm not trying to sway your vote one way or another. I guess to some degree everybody does, right? When you talk to somebody, they do. There's no way to have absolute no bias, or be unbiased in every regard. But but what I did want to point out was that if you're like me and you enjoy the local politics and the sport of elections, that it does become, right? It becomes this matchup, right? If for nothing else, my theory was so what's going to happen today is either Amy or Bill are going to win at the end of the day, right? If Bill wins, he moves on to the general, and Amy will be in the general as the Democratic candidate. If Amy wins, she'll be the Republican candidate and the Democratic candidate, and then I think Bill still may show up on like one of the lower lines, right? Like one of the minority parties, the parties that are not like, you know, Republican and Democrat, right? He might show up on the conservative line or an NOP line, which is create your own party. I believe both candidates have done that, but in the sport of the game, you don't want to watch the Super Bowl happen after the first match, right? So if you don't like Bill or you don't know Amy and you're just like out there, my theory is that like if you want to watch the sport happen and like come to a full conclusion where you actually have a referendum from the entire city of Olean, Republicans and Democrats, I think that what needs to happen is you vote for Bill. And I'm not trying to endorse one candidate over the other, but I do think that, like, I don't like the idea that, like, somebody loses the primary and they're already endorsed by the other major party, and now all of a sudden, like, the general election is just just throwing the towel. It's just a shoe-in. I think that there still needs to be, like, which in my opinion, I think that Bill's going to walk away with this because he's a long-term, like, member of the Republican Party. Like, everybody knows his name there, you know what I mean? The committees know him. The little old ladies who mail in their ballots, they'll throw it's a name thing. When I ran for county legislator, like, I didn't have the name. Like, I wasn't, my great grandfather wasn't a governor, and my, like, I wasn't like a county legislator prior and an alderman. I had been an alderman, but it wasn't like there wasn't like 30 years of nameship. Or my work with the school wasn't that, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, all the people I went against during that, they had name recognition. And you really need that in a primary where there's low turnout. I think Bill will take this, which is exciting for me as a spectator, as a person who enjoys the sport of elections, because I'm going to see it go to a Super Bowl where, like, right here, if it dies today, it dies today, and that's kind of depressing, because then it's like, great, the entire election season is almost over, because like winning on an NOP ballot is like a Hail Mary play, but it ain't that's like a write-in campaign. Like, you usually just get smoked just from my insight on seeing elections play out year after year after year. I don't see it coming to fruition. And so I kind of do hope Bill takes it, just so that, like, there is an actual referendum. If this is a referendum on Bill, or if this is a referendum on people's misinterpretation of change, like, at the general, it shouldn't matter who wins, because there's not going to be the change that people want. It's not going to be like, there's not going to be drastic changes. Like, literally, your hands are tied. It's just one of those things. Like, and I understand Amy's push for doing this, right? Like, she's gonna have, like, this is just her way to seal her victory, right? And why would you want it to, like, go on any further, right? If you're gonna win, you'd want to know today that you're gonna win. But with that said, hopefully we'll give you some election night coverage results, and then we'll be able to continue on from there. But it was one of those. It's one of those things. It's it'll kind of it'll be sad, and it'll kill the rest of the season if if you take the only other team in the league out of commission. You'll have a couple skirmishes, right? But, like, other than that, it'll be it just won't be an exciting election season, and that's why I kind of hope for that. My prediction, which isn't out of left field, it's not like picking the March Madness teams. I think that my prediction of who's going to win today will probably come to fruition, but it's one of those, like, and I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, you're picking sides. Like, no, I'm not trying to pick sides, but at the same time, like, I have I want to give you my take on a lot of stuff, but, like, I believe it has to come down to the general, and like, because there's a lot of people out there that watch this show that are Democrats and they can't vote. I mean, I'm sure there's more Republicans and conservatives that listen to the show than Dems, but I'm like, they should be able to cast their vote too. So now they're just going to cast their vote. Like, I voted for Amy, like, in November, but like, you can only vote for Amy in November. So like, well, like, oh, way to be in an echo chamber, way to be a member of Blue Sky. Like, it's just like, what are you going to do? So get out there and vote today, folks. Vote for who you want. Try not to let me sway it, but if you're on the fence and you're not sure who to vote for, like, at least let it go down to a referendum in November, and then let each candidate, like, show their worth to the entire voting body. So, with that said, we will see you guys at the polls, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a little thumbs up mark, or there's a subscribe button, and that's a vote for Kevin. And we appreciate your vote, and we'll see you at the polls.